Let's see here. All right, welcome to the PARAcast. I'm your host, Tomas the Boss Hernandez, joining you from a chair that I now own half of. Joining me tonight, Star Tours' least favorite scenario, it's Robert Wyatt.
I'm the spy. I'm always the spy.
Get him out of here. Shoot him. Do whatever. I don't know.
My son got to be the spy the last time we wrote it, and it was so great because we all started
that's
yelling at
awesome.
him, and he was like, "Ah!"
well,
It's like the highlight of a trip if you actually get to be the spy. And I have no idea how they pick it, but I just like it.
Well, I know that last time I went to Star Tours, my ex-wife was the spy, and I should have taken the hint.
Taking the hint.
Taken the hint.
Turn her in for the reward.
Darth,
I'm sorry, Lord Vader. Have her.
Darth, she's right here. Get her out of here, everyone. He's gonna kill us. Get her out. And he read Moby Dick for that hot sailor action. Spoilers. It's just a whale. It's Jared Stepp.
I was really confused. I thought it was going to be like a dude's version of a Court of Thorns or whatever, and nope.
Yeah.
There's no dick.
There's none. There's none. A Court of Thorns or whatever the other ones. Paige reads those, so she has those down there. So,
I just think it's funny that all women can be like, "Yes, I read smut," ha ha ha, and all these ladies are like bragging about how they read their porn books. But if I go off and talk about how Riley reads hot, everyone gets mad at me.
like who's the what?
Yeah, like double standard my ass.
No one knows who that is.
Yeah, no,
I don't know who that is. That's a random name that I pulled out of a hat.
All I know is don't go and look in my Instagram search history.
I would say there's been times where like Paige has them on audiobooks, so she'll be down there, she'll be like crocheting or whatever, and I'll be listening, and like the Court of the Thorn books or whatever, those are pretty tame, those are pretty PG. The ones with the dragons or whatever like that, those ones were pretty. I just sat there and I just looked at her and she was just like, "This is my first time reading it. It's fine or whatever." So it's just weird when you're sitting there and you're like listening to that,
I'll go get you some more batteries.
Oh, it's
fact.
It's fact. The stuff that gets sold in that Barnes and Noble. We were at Barnes and Noble yesterday, book shopping, and there's the gigantic pile of the romance. What do you want?
Schmut.
What's your power fantasy? You want to be here's the power fantasy, the female power fantasy. You're special, but you never knew you were this special, and that you're more special than everybody else, and you're powerful. You're powerful, but you don't know that you're that powerful. And this guy over here, he likes you, but he's kind of a bad guy. He's a bad guy, but he likes you, but he's powerful. But he's a bad guy. He likes you. This guy over here, he's a good guy, but he likes you, and he's loved you his entire life. But he's also powerful. But he's also hot. But he's not hot in a way that like makes you think that he's super hot right now. But this guy over here, this powerful, he's really hot. But I can't do that because I hate him.
And they got massive dicks.
Well, hold on.
I'm just a little bit confused here, Tommy. I mean, with your description and your very, concise description, is Paige listening to these, or are you?
No, I've heard like 3 or 4 of these things, and it's the same thing. It's just like what was it?
I was reading it for the article.
What's that bitch?
What's
that bitch with the bow and arrow?
Stepsister getting stuck in the laundry bin.
Stepbrother.
It's like that. What was it? The Hunger Games. Where she had the one friend, and then she went into the Hunger Games with the other friend, but the other friend loved her. And
eat a pit.
Yeah, and so like it's the same thing. But the bad guy, you're like, oh man, he murdered a village. He murdered a village in cold blood. This guy over here, he would never murder a village. And then you find out, it's like,
but I kind of hated that village.
But he murdered that village because they killed his entire family, but he didn't kill the children or the women. He killed them to prevent an attack on his people because he protects his people. He's actually better.
Not Star Wars?
Yeah.
Full Anakin.
He's not full Anakin, but he was a bad guy, but now he's not as bad as I thought he was. He's actually kind of good, but he's dark and mysterious and kind of good. And it's just like, and then everyone has, well, they don't I've noticed this in both books I've listened to these scenes on, is they never explain, they never call it like, the man unit, the shaft, whatever, they say she felt his length in his pants or whatever. Like yeah, that's the word they like to use. The length. She felt the length.
His bratwurst.
His burnt end sausage, everybody, that you need to get. Like get that burnt end sausage.
His uncured burnt end sausage.
Hey, listen, you want that thing symmetrical.
Oh no!
You want
this one has cheese in it.
You want you want it perfectly symmetrical. You don't want long and thin. Like these burnt-in sausages are about 5.5 inches long, about 5.5 inches thick. Perfect. That's all you need. That's all you need. And so you can go ahead and get yours, and it'll taste great. And when you bite it too much, and if it's really hot, it'll make lightning come out.
Over?
Yeah, it burst all over. Who knows? That's just what it is. So anyway,
this really is PARAcast After Dark.
So
yeah, I'm trying to figure out where we need to cut it and actually put the intro in.
Yeah, no kidding. So anyways, I went out there and I got some S-Tac pouches. I was over there at the cop match and I was looking at some of the S-Tac stuff and I was like, oh, you know what? I really like some new S-Tac pouches because the S-Tacs are great because like for competition, they hold the right tension. For like if you're running around doing stuff, they hold the right tension with it. So it's just like, all right, I'm gonna grab some S-Tac pouches, and it's nice to have belts, especially now for these double stack magazines, whether it's a Beretta or a Glock or Walther or whatever you're shooting, or I don't think they'll hold the 2011s. I think you have to get a different pouch for the 2011s. But like,
you just have to jam them in there real good.
Yeah,
and you can dick with the Kydex and open it wider.
Yeah, with the length of the 2011. So you can do that and all that jazz, and so it's great. So now I bought another one. Jason got me a belt, Bunderson from a Dominate American Operator Gear. He got me a new belt, a black multicam. Nice. So I got some black multicam pouches to go there, the Gap Glock ones. So I'm pretty excited to go out there and mess around with those. So it's been fun.
What gun are you gonna shoot?
I'm going to shoot in carry optics. I'm going to probably just shoot my Glock. I had my VP9, and I fully gave that over to Paige because Paige likes it, and she knows how to do it. So I have my Glock 17 there with the HoloSun 507 comp mounted on top. And so I'll probably be shooting that in carry optics. It's probably what I shoot the best. I have the P30 I could mess around with, and like shooting doubles at like 15 and like 25, the P30 seems to hold a better group for me out there at that range, but definitely the splits aren't there, and it's more of a matter of how I'm pressing the trigger. I have that Gray Guns kit and that P30, so it's a little bit easier with the flat trigger and everything to kind of press it.
I like that P30 so much.
It's really good. They're great guns. They're accurate guns. The only issue is like getting a dot on these guns. And it's kind of one of these things where it's like with the...
You don't need a dot with a P30. You just believe, and that's where the bullet goes.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. They're pretty difficult to shoot when you're just picking them up and transferring it over from a Glock. It takes a minute. What is it? My like three of my favorite guns that I wish would have one of them has, but like a factory mounting solution would be like a Beretta 92, and you're like, hey, they have a factory mounting solution. It was pretty terrible for a long time. The PX4 and like the P30. Like if those two had a factory mounting solution, that'd be great, but the main interest that those companies are working with, the Langdon Tactical, they do the mounting solutions for both of those guns, and they're good mounting solutions. They sit low, but I would definitely like a factory solution that I can just pop off and throw some screws in, because it's funny with like the MOS plates and all the plates that are coming out for like the Glock systems and everything else like that. Like you don't really have to worry too much about the plate systems as much as you used to, but I would still prefer a factory solution over sending it off and getting it milled for $390 or $500 from Right Armory.
Yeah, just send it to Josh Dobson because he turns it around in less than a week and is substantially cheaper than anybody.
Well,
why wouldn't I?
With a gun,
does Josh have a company that we can refer people to, or did they just Google Josh Dobson? How does this work?
It's just an email address. Yeah, he people ask, and I just send him his email. Because he has a real proper job. and he just kind of does this on the side. They let him use machinery, but now he's like a head honcho or something like that at the company. I can't remember what he said he did, but um, he'll still do it. But this is just kind of a side gig. He helps Blake out and stuff like that a lot.
Yeah, the issue
Oh, does he?
the issue with
Mm.
cutting something like a PX4 or P30 is you can't actually cut into the slide because the lightning channel that they use in there for the 9 millimeters is the top of the slide is actually so shallow in one part of those that's why you need some aftermarket plate system. Like if you take off the plate system on the P30, you can see straight through the slide in one aspect of it because that's where on the 40 caliber the slide is thickened, and just like on the Glock 22 versus the 17, they'd go in there and they'd shave off a certain section of that material to lighten up the 9 millimeter slide, and so like that's the issue.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, everything he's ever done for me, I've been more than happy with, and it's nice because he's right here, and I can't recommend him more enough. He's just great.
Yep. The other things is more and more P320 stuff starts coming out. The Sig Armorer on YouTube is saying that he's got the answers and he's got the fix. He's going to be releasing that video soon. There is another clip I found by
I
these.
bet.
I found this other clip that was done by, I can't remember the name of them, but they were talking about how they had an internal Sig guy talking about how their one problem was a steel part that was saved them $30, so they mimed it, and so and then they weren't quality controlling the mim. But the other thing I thought was interesting is that they have the takedown lever on the Sig P320s. And they're apparently saying that they would get batches of the 45 caliber takedown levers, the 10 millimeter takedown levers, which are apparently slightly beefier, but they can still go in the same frame as the 9 millimeters, and that those were getting installed into the 9 millimeter P320s. And since it's a larger pin, it actually pushes the slide farther up from the frame. And so what that would actually cause less engagement of the sear and striker foot on the guns. It just sounds like a freaking crap show. It just sounds like a crap show. But apparently, ever since all the Sig P320 stuff, every Sig P320 is actually being hand inspected to make sure that it doesn't leave the factory in some configuration that would cause.
Well, that's good. It's not like there's a million out there that are dog shit already.
Already, yeah. And
that's super good.
Well, the other part is too is like when they're getting if what people are saying are true is like how they are getting their MIM parts from India, that they were kind of mixed bagged and people were just throwing these guns together. They have no idea which ones are which. They have no what idea of which ones are affected and which ones are not affected. So it's just like, what do you do then?
You have to recall every single gun.
Yeah, they'll never do that.
They'll never do it.
That's the only answer, though.
No, it is. I mean, functionally, at the end of the day, I mean, you have to actually just tell people yes. But to do that, then they're going to open themselves up to the entire lawsuit, and Sig Sauer will be a thing of the past.
I just love there were a couple, apparently there's some videos where you can find out if your gun's drop safe or whatever. If you do this or you hold it like this and then you press this and you shake it.
Punch test.
And
on the
then
back.
will your sear drop forward? And I know a couple guys actually who shoot 320s in competitions, and they were like, well, for science, let's see. Oh shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they all were like, mine goes off. Oh shit, mine goes off too. Ah, fuck.
Yeah, like
Whoops.
it would be. I wish I kind of like I don't wish I still had mine, but like for the sake of this, like because mine were like a 2018 and 2019 make. I wish I did have mine so I could sit there and see. Mine came out.
Science.
Yeah, mine came out post drop on the back of the slide firing fix. But so it would be pretty nice to see what they would do and then like what parts were actually in those guns that would make them do that. I mean, I had like the Apex trigger and the Apex trigger bar in mind, so maybe that might have fixed some things with it because, you know, that's a company you can trust to actually put decent stuff out, and maybe that might have been some of the fix. But no, it's
Bad news bears.
yeah, I mean, apparently Grantham got the one that went off with that
hands on one, yeah.
that Achilles heels tactical where the one went off in the guy's holster. Apparently Grantham has that one, and they're doing a video with a bunch of engineers trying to replicate it and make it do it. And like that's the one thing. It's just like Sig Sauer and the GBRS guys or whatever like that.
Oh,
They're like literally like a week and a half or 2 weeks away from like somebody probably being able to demonstrate one of these things. I mean, I always thought like you could just take a Glock 17, put it into a paint shaker with a primed case in it, and just shake it forever. It would go off, and then you could find one of these P320s that doesn't have a that fails the punch test, and throw it in a paint shaker like that, and you could probably get it to discharge. I know there's a
Well, that was
handful
the
of
nice
guns
thing.
that wouldn't go.
I just love all the Ben Stoker videos where he just posts GBRS quotes with zero context and he doesn't say anything. He just posts a video of them talking and everyone's like, dude, these guys are so fucking stupid. And it's just beautiful. Where it's like, oh, when it's not the guys deep throating your content and it's other people, like, dude,
Yeah.
you guys look fucking dumb as hell. I also heard an interesting thing about GBRS the other day. I was talking to an industry guy, and he actually said GBRS is um, it's not like a small startup company. It's not these three SEALs or whatever the fuck they were who were just working together. It was actually backed by big money. It's backed by some very, very large companies. And so I'm like, oh, maybe they actually work for Sig. Maybe it's just a new arm of Sig's marketing team because holy shit, they are fighting so hard for the Sig P320s, and I don't understand why they would.
I
Yeah,
I
don't.
that one
really
that
don't
I
get it.
never that's never made sense to me. Why? I mean, if you have a product, I mean, the best thing if you have a product that you're dealing with, the best thing to do is shut up.
Well, I mean, it makes sense if like Bruce Gray wants to defend the P320s. That makes sense. If Daniel Horner wanted to do it, if Max Michel wanted to do it, if those people start defending the P320, it
That's
makes
fair.
sense.
I
Yeah.
don't actually
But
see Horner or Max Michel
they don't. They're
talking
not
about the
saying,
controversy
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
But that's because they're smart. That's why I don't get these other guys who are sticking their necks out on the line saying
Yeah.
like, oh, unless I see this video, I'll never believe any of this. And then they post a video of the cop literally
Bending over and
putting
it
his
did.
gun as a holster, and then it shoots, and you're like, what the hell? And
Yep.
it's just I don't get why they would defend it so hard. It's suspicious. It's one of those things where someone's trying too hard, and then everyone just starts squinting.
Yeah. It the idea that like, oh, I'm gonna go to war over this single pistol because like I'm just gonna like it reminds me of
Yeah,
like
a
no,
mediocre pistol.
I'm just gonna show Daddy that like I'm on their team as hard as whatever comes. So whatever happens with Sig and this pistol, I want to show that I'm here and I'm still worth the check. Because it's just like
Yeah,
why the heck would you do this? Like I would like to live in a world where that thing was safe and cheap, and if it, like honestly, if I start seeing them for like $220 and someone comes out with like a $70 parts kit that guarantees their safety, then I'd be like, okay, cool. Like that'd be cool. I'll have a P320 around lying around. It's optics cut for a delta point, and like I could put a Vortex Defender on it all day long and screw around with it. That'd be cool. But like I'm not going to war. This like there's companies that I like that have terrible products, and I'll be like, no, that's a terrible product. Don't buy that one.
yeah. Don't
It,
don't do that.
it's ridiculous. Anyways, Robert.
Went out, shot a match yesterday. Had two series of unfortunate events. I have we shot this part-time stage, and timer goes off.
Again,
Yeah, they've got a hard on for part-time stages for some reason. I
not the
don't.
same one though, right?
No, it's different. It's fine. I mean, they're different, right?
Part-time stages are
It's
fun.
people
I don't
they
mind
can
them.
they can do fun things, but draw the gun, take one shot, and then the gun like really like locks up. Strip it out. By then the part-time ends, and so it's like okay, well shit. And so there's two strings to it. Go over to the next one. Put the mag back in. This. I probably should have just tossed the mag, but I didn't think about it. Same thing happens. So I basically just toasted that entire stage. It's like whatever. I go walking back. I start stripping all the bullets out, and come to an empty magazine. And then I'm looking at it, and there's this glint underneath the follower. There's a freaking bullet, like a cartridge, an actual like
Yeah.
cartridge underneath the follower. And I'm like, what in the hell? How does that even happen? They're like, well, maybe you dropped it when you, and like, no, this was a brand new, like, this came out of my pouch. I loaded it that day, so I had never used it. It was a weirdest thing. And it's like, okay, well, chalk that up to I have no idea what happens. But then
Ghosts.
it was a fun stay. It was a fun match. The match was great, but I screwed up, and like I screwed up hard because like it started getting warm, and I didn't pay attention to it. And match ends, and I'm sitting there talking to somebody, and I drink water, but I apparently didn't drink enough of it, and it got so bad. Like I'm sitting there talking to Jory, and like the side of my left eye, it's like going black, 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 and I'm like, oh shit, that's a problem. I just got like horribly dehydrated,
There's this thing
and I
called
never even thought about it.
thirst. It's when your mouth feels like it wants like cold liquid on it, and your throat kind of wants it.
Dude,
That
I know. I totally get it. And I actually thought I was drinking enough. And it just,
How hot did it get yesterday?
no, it wasn't even
70s.
bad. It was only like 80, 89 down in the
Mm,
valley. And I screwed up. I know I did, but I mean, I got home and everything, and I have like my little 32-ounce bottles. I drank three of those things before I even started peeing again. I had the worst headache of my life.
yuck.
I was like, that sucked.
Yep.
It's always
Like,
hard in Utah because we have this deep cold, and then all of a sudden it just comes out of the woodwork, and it's, oh yeah, we're in a desert.
yeah. And
So we always have heat casualties these first couple matches.
it was dumb. I mean, I've been doing this thing for long enough. I should know better, but that
You,
one, I was shocked.
Shadow 2 or AO1.
I shot the shadow too.
So any.
I'll shoot the arrow next week.
All right. Can't wait to
I'm gonna
hear
try
about
to.
it.
What time does sign up start?
They're already open.
Oh
Oh,
fuck.
they're running 3 flights now. Friday, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon.
Oh, they are gonna do the Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna try it again and see if it's popular. They're limiting it to 6 squads, um 12-man squads to across the whole thing, which I don't know, it's good or bad. I don't care about squad size as much as I do match flow. And so
Well, squad size does contribute to a much faster match.
it sure does, but I just find that we're still getting out of there at 1 and 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so I mean, I'm just like, if we're getting out of there at a decent time, then we're doing something right.
Well,
Zach, oh man, Zach he designed a stage, and I think his stage was arguably a nationals level stage.
nice.
And the way he did that thing, there were so many options. Like our squad shot it, and I took photos of it, and like about half the squad kind of coalesced around one idea, but everybody was just shooting it. It was all kind of the same general like flow and direction, but everybody was shooting it in different orders and patterns, all trying to figure out. And the times were all really close to each other, identical for because it was all some pretty good people on the squad. But damn it, if that wasn't, he did a dang good job on that stage. It was really impressive.
Good.
Awesome.
That's good to hear.
Jared,
I have not done any shooting recently. I've been in full break mode and recovery from uh this shit show. And so now I've just been relaxing. I just swapped over from grave shift to swing shift, so I'm going to be getting off at midnight now, so hopefully I can actually start living a quasi normal life for the summer.
yep.
Nice.
Um and then yeah, I should be able to start coming out to the slips matches on Saturdays. That that afternoon sounds nice though to me because uh that would be really nice to actually wake up and not have to wake up hellishly early to go to a match. Because that's the one thing I always hated about the the summer matches is how they start them at 7 or whatever. And like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
it's
they just
early.
started that this month. I'm
Yep.
like, really? Do we have to do that?
And I get like starting it at 7, but at the same time, it's also it's good and it
Dumb.
sucks.
It's just dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, our
Yeah.
matches are getting done at 1 and 2 o'clock. I mean, even when we
Yeah,
started
but
at
the
9 o'clock, and it's fine.
this way is giving you multiple options, and so I could see the
This is
benefits
true.
to it.
No, this new
Where
format is great. Yeah, but
I think
prior,
if you
prior to
start at
that,
7 a.m., you should be done by noon easily. And then I'm
yeah.
guessing the second flight will start at what, 1?
Well, they'll still start at 8 o'clock for the first flight, and then the second will start. I don't know when that. They didn't tell me when that one's going to start.
I'm guessing they'll probably schedule 4 hours for the first flight, and then I'm guessing so they'll probably start it at 1. But that could be fun, and that would make my life a little bit easier. I could go shoot the Saturday afternoon match,
Yeah,
and
you just
so
hang out till everyone's kind of annoyed with you by 11:45, and then you're just like, all right, I'm gonna go shoot a match, and then you come back, and then everyone's happy. Let's go to dinner. Let's get that done.
Yeah.
Discontinued
Well,
Glocks. How are you guys feeling on your discontinued Glocks? Have you guys seen the list? Is there anything you want on the list before they go away?
is there a G4? What's that G40? The big 10, the big long slide 10
The
millimeter.
24, the 20. Oh, the yeah, that's gone.
yeah, the 40.
Yeah,
They
they
axed a
had
lot
an
of stuff.
MOS. I'd probably, if I could find a good deal on one of those, I'd probably pick up the MOS of that gun.
There's some Gen 5 stuff
That's a good point.
that I saw was leaving the lineup. Like I saw the Glock 49, and I saw them for good prices too. And like the 49, I was just like, well, for a long time that was like the holy grail gun, which was the Glock 19 frame with the Glock 17 slide. And you don't really need it in an optics world, but like they had one of those. I was like, oh man, that sucks that just came in, is now leaving. And then the other one that just came in is now leaving. It's the 17L, the 5th gen, but they have like the older Gen 17Ls. Those are going away. Basically everything Gen 4 is dead. So if that was the
Well,
last generation that you had, that's going to go away. And so it's the other part is like, so it kind of feels like the Gen 6 is just right around the corner.
my question is why? So to me, that suggests that somebody's having like either a really bad financial issue or something must be happening. Because if they're having to gut their entire line, I mean, there has to be a reason, right?
Well, I would
They're
Well,
not just going to do it.
maybe it's just the simple answer of that it costs, it costs X amount of money to produce the line, but then the changeover from this to this is like from a downtime perspective becomes prohibitively expensive. And so
Right.
if you know that you're not going to be if you know the 45 is a dead and dying caliber, and 40 Smith and Wesson same thing, then why would you devote that much resources to something that functionally
well,
isn't being purchased anymore?
That's fair.
apparently that entire line that they axed was only about 8%. That was 8% of Glock sales. So all those
Really?
guns that equaled
All of those?
all those models equaled 8% of Glock sales. And
And I
so
mean, that doesn't surprise me.
no, because like what are the sales now? It's like it was 17s, now it's 47s. It's
Mhm.
Glock 19 MOSs, it's Glock 26s. The
Yeah,
one
but why the 34?
I think they
No
understand,
PDs. No PDs are buying the 34.
and
It's a different holster.
I think a lot of
Uh,
the the hobbyists don't get the 34 anymore. I mean, like we were the prime market for the 34, and that's kind of gone.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
I always I was looking at a 34 the other day, and I was like, I kind of want a 34 because I always like the long, soft recoil of the longer slide, fully sprung Glocks, and so a 34 made a lot of sense. But then I sit there and I look at it, and I'm just like, especially with the newer Glocks, it's like get a G45, a 19, and a 47, and then you have parts and
Everything.
slide compatibility that you can swap back and forth with them. And so
Yeah.
it's just kind of it's just going away. And so there's a couple of those niche Glocks which were kind of cool, like the Gen 5 Glock 30s, the compact 45 autos. All the 45 Gap ones are officially dead. The 357 Sig ones are officially dead. But even
Was
some
the Gaps ever actually alive? I mean, did they ever
probably
have
not.
any kind of a market?
I would imagine they probably had something like a 1% or 2% of the sales when they originally came out. People
Yeah.
switching over and believing in it, and then it just went away. But the 17L, like I've always wanted a 17L, but I never wanted one enough to buy one. And you could buy a 17L and run it into LO, and probably have some fun with it. It might be a cool little thing to have a 6-inch barreled 9mm and play around with that. But yeah, that's going away too. So
I think the only one that I would be honestly sad about is like the one Robert said, because that 10 millimeter would be nice, and because honestly, out of all the 10 millimeters out there, the only one that I think would be actually genuinely a good idea to have for bear country would be a Glock 40,
yep.
and that
And
would be
it's such a nice shooting gun. I
Mhm.
I was genuinely amazed at how soft of a recoil that gun was for what it was. I fully expected just a lot more like punch in your hands, and it was not.
Yeah.
That's even with that stupid what are they called, the
Underwood,
underwood
yeah.
underwear ammo, the crazy stuff, right?
the hard cast lead,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the
now.
Skullfucker 9000.
Well, it's so funny is that everyone started coming out with a 10 millimeter line. Sig did with their classic, like their P220s and their P320s. They came out with a 10 millimeter line. Smith and Wesson came out with a 10 millimeter line, and yeah, Glock's kind of losing some of it. Like those were always kind of cool guns, but yeah, they're going away.
Yeah, but Caleb Giddings did he had a Facebook or Instagram or something like that post where he was kind of showing the sales of all these calibers, and 380 still like massively outsells 10 millimeter kind of thing.
Yeah, and
And so it's like,
that's gonna stick around.
yeah, and it's like, I mean, when all these companies come out with the 10 millimeter, these kind of just these bougie guns that are really more what do you call it, niche
Yeah.
niche guns. I mean, they look cool. That's something to look at SHOT Show, but beyond that, unless you're going to go up to like backcountry or Alaska or something like that, most people just don't need a 10 millimeter.
Well, I guess
Right.
what we learned is like that's if you want to get 3% more in sales that year, you throw out a couple of these little low production models, and you just hope that like one of them catches on and it becomes hard to find,
Yeah.
and then you keep backfilling them, forever.
But
But
you're always going to have the faithful, like, the hardcore Glock guys or CZ guys that'll just buy anything that your company puts out. I don't know what kind of percentage that accounts for in sales,
yeah.
but
Well,
I mean, I know there's people that'll just buy anything that
Well,
CZ puts out.
if we've learned anything in the past 5 years about the market, is tactical boys and cops apparently, and departments and large group purchases is apparently where the money is at.
Yep.
Mhm.
And now everyone is trying to pander to those nerds.
Brand new shooter at the match Thursday at a Staccato XC.
Hell yeah.
Like,
Also, speaking of
damn.
that, somebody from this podcast messaged me wanting to buy the Staccato HD P4 that I have. I lost that message. Message
no.
me again.
Message me again. It's for sale. I'm
gonna,
sorry.
I'm gonna sell it, and so
Yeah.
whoever messaged me about that,
Who would
message me again.
Who would have seen it coming? Nobody.
I know, right?
You know what?
Hey, I'm not selling this though. This baby, this Atlas
No.
Athena. Holy shit, this thing is nice. Bad news bears.
What would you shoot? You shot that at the cop match, right?
Yeah.
What is that? $9,000?
This
Yeah.
no.
What's an
No,
Atlas
those
Athena?
are like half of that, like $5,000 or so.
Okay.
No, so the new Atlases are between 6 and 7, depending on which one you
Okay.
get. And so I think the Athena's like 65 ish, direct from Atlas. But I got this on a special deal from a friend who called me and asked me if I wanted it. So it was half of $9,000.
We just raided this guy's house. If you get over here in the next 15 minutes, I got a gun for you.
Actually, funny story. Do you guys want to do cop story time for a
Yes,
second?
let's do cop story
Hell
time for a
yes.
second.
There. This is what I did last week in guns. So a homicide suspect left Las Vegas, and he was taken off north. And I don't know if they had a ping on his car, on his phone, or if they just had some intel that he was heading north on I-15. But somehow Las Vegas PD gives a heads up to all of Utah County saying, hey, we have this homicide suspect. He's in this car. He's alone. He should be on I-15. If you guys can find him, that'd be cool. They find him, get in a pursuit with him from Spanish Fork all the way up into Salt Lake County.
So like 40
And
miles,
then,
pretty much. 30
yeah.
miles, yeah.
And then finally, one of the agencies involved ends up pitting him. And it ends where I'm at. And a pit is when basically, you come up from the side and
Oh, and you bump the car. So
bump the car.
Oh,
But
okay.
it sounds like he more or less just rammed him a couple times. So he rammed him twice. The car kind of spins out, crashes. And then they do this big felony stop on him. Everybody's pointing guns. I showed up, got to point guns at the bad guy. He didn't do anything. For a second, we actually thought he was, because he kept on having his hands up. Then he was reaching down, and everyone's like, oh, no. Oh, no. And he doesn't do anything. Gets into custody. We hook him up, and he's arrested. But we can see there's movement inside the car. So it's like, is there another person in the car? Like, what is this? And all of a sudden, this dog, like this cute little mutt thing, like
Comes
some
out
sort
with his
of.
knife in a mouth and everyone opens fire.
The dog sticks his head out the window, and we're like, oh, it's a dog. And then, like, the window's not even down all the way, but it's like shimmies out. You know how dogs can
Yeah.
like turn into like wet noodles? And then
Mhm.
he just wet noodles his way out of the window, falls onto the ground, pops up, and then just comes running over at us. And we're like, oh shit. But it was a very happy dog. It was the like most friendly dog I've ever met on a call. And it comes over and we get him, and we put him in this highway patrolman's car. We're like, come on, sit in here. We're doing shit. You
It's-
just sit in this car.
It smells like shit anywhere in the trooper car. Hop on in. Hop on in.
Oh no. The police car, the suspect car was so bad. It was just BO and meth. We found the coolest thing we found in the car were these two, like, it was weird because they were like these nice like silver briefcases that were locked, but they were these large briefcases, and we're like, ooh, what's in here? We're thinking gun, something
Yeah.
cool. One of the arresting agency breaks into the briefcases, pops them open, and they're just glass dildos with like custom foam cutouts for each glass dildo.
Oh my
And both
God.
of them were just full of them. So there were like 15 glass dildos, and they were weird ones too. It wasn't just a normal penis. Like, it was like a dagger where it had like one this way, one up, one down, one sideways, and I'm like, how many people are
How
supposed
does
to
this
use
even
this?
work?
And then one had like a hook on it, and it was just like, oh no.
Man,
I
when
think this goes in this hole, and this goes in this hole, and this goes in. This is plugging a lot.
when you go sideways, you really go sideways. Like meth just keeps giving to the human creativity on what you want
So-
to do, whatever actions you want to perform.
We were laughing our asses off about that. And then the dog ends up gets taken away by animal control. And obviously the suspect gets taken down to jail, and he gets extradited to Las Vegas. So he's not going to get his dog back. The dog is now considered abandoned at
Oh,
the
wait. Somebody's gonna. The dog's not gonna like get put down or nothing, right?
It might. I don't know. It's the animal
Oh.
controls. And so actually one of the sergeants was like, I like that dog. I'm going to go see him. So he goes and sees the dog, and he loves this dog because the dog's the nicest thing in the world. So he adopts the dog.
Nice.
And now the dog's name is Felony.
Felony, stop.
And
That's-
it was funny because I was over at his house the other day. I'm like, hey, last time I saw you, Felony, I was pointing a gun at your head. Because we didn't know what you were.
That's cute.
And there's the cop story of the day. We stole a dog from a murder suspect and named it Felony.
Well,
There you go.
if you wanted that dog to triple in price, you could have just put the name Shadow on him, and then that probably would have happened too. Anyways, if you would like to hold your glass case of whatever you want and just custom foam, you want to live that custom life, head on over to American Operator Gear. Use promo code PARA10. Save 10% off your belt of your choice. The best belts in the industry. No one beats them, even though they try. Check them out. Dominate Defense and American Operator Gear. PARA10. Save 10% off your order. Also, W74 Guide Rods. Listen to Kevin Isaac talk to you about the differences between a 5-inch metal PDP and a 4.5-inch metal PDP. But don't worry, he's got guide rods for both.
Much.
Yeah, but it's wide. Isn't it wider? Isn't like that much wider. Check him out. Use promo code PARA10 for all your heavyweight needs for your gun that you're bringing to the USPSA. If you're just like 50 ounces isn't enough, I actually want to touch that weight limit. Kevin's your man. PARA10. And if you want to get a +1 for more fun in the gun, check out Rune Tactical. Follower spring kits for your magazines to get that 23rd, 24th, and possibly 25th round in the gun. Check it out. Use promo code PARA10 at Rune Tactical, and you can save 10% off your order. Telegram, it's a messaging app. You can hop on that bad boy. Heck, you might even soon be able to hop on Discord and send us messages. Do all that jazz, and we will answer it when you ask. Robert.
We already did the Glock one. So from Jeremy Fitzpatrick, I'm thinking about trying a DASA platform that I could use both CO and LO. Magwell and cocked safety on in LO, no magwell and decocked for CO. Can you think of realistic options other than a Shadow 2 or the Beretta 92 variants?
So he wants a magwell. What else does he want on this thing?
He wants to have a magwell and cocked for a cocked safety for LO, but then no magwell and decocked for CO.
So, really, the only options were a Shadow, a Beretta, and a Sig 226. Right?
I mean,
Yeah,
that's if you want an aluminum frame. If you want polymer frame, you have more options. If you want a cocked and locked, you would have to get like a P30L S model because the S would have the safety lever. So you could have it has the decocker on the back of the slide, so you could decock it. Companies make a magwell for it, so you can have a magwell on it, and then since it has the manual safety version, you could thumb the hammer back and then have the thumb safety on. But I would not let the manual safety be something that keeps you away from something else, because the manual safety, they carry it cocked and locked for LO. I don't think it. I think you're looking at a non-issue, and you're going to find your way into a platform that's inferior. Like a 226, you can't have it cocked and locked. You can't do it on a 226. Okay. You could either
unless you get the Elite.
If you have a single action only, but then it's not CO compatible.
Single action only.
Yeah, then it's not CO compatible. So you're really left with like the only guns that kind of. A Beretta doesn't even allow you to do that for LO. I mean, the new ones do, but
the new ones because they have the
the safety, the performance models. I think if you were going to go into a double single LO gun, you get a Shadow 2. And I'm a big Beretta guy, but I know that every problem that you have with the Shadow 2 can be solved.
Yeah, I'm kind of there too. I mean, I didn't know that the 226 you couldn't run it cocked and locked, so that kind of takes that out of the equation.
Well, you can. It's just a specific model. It doesn't. It can't do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't do.
So if you have that specific model, can I then run it DA SA?
You can only
frame's different.
You can only have a DA SA frame, or you can have a single action only frame. But that's what you're left with. I mean, there's.
So I'm gonna get two guns essentially, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you could get something like a USP. A USP would do both, but it can't get to the magazine capacity, and it doesn't have the ability to have a dot on it. The Beretta 92 X Performance can. That kind of does both of those and can get a dot, and people have magwells for them. Lock makes magwells for them, but if you take that option out and take out the CZ option. The other option that you could possibly have with an Omega trigger group is something like a P09 Nocturne. You could have that. That would be a polymer frame version of the gun, but those.
No, actually, the standard P09, the P07s, both of them have the ability to swap out And you could run those cocked and locked.
Yeah. You could with the Omega trigger group. You could manual
Right.
safety or decocker.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't see the point. I wouldn't try to. I wouldn't try to get a jack of all trades. I would either pick a division and shoot in that division, and have
I think
fun in that division. The big thing
I think
though
the
is
Shadow
like
2 is the jack of all trades
the
in
Shadow
that
2 is going to
regard.
be your best option there.
Yeah.
But from a vibe standpoint, I would get a Sig 226 Dark Elite. Dude, those things are cool as hell. Those new Sig 226s that are a lot of fun.
Yep.
They shoot fantastically. And if you want a unique gun that you're not going to see a million of at the range, those Sig 226s are great options. Shadows are super cool. The only thing that sucks now about the Shadow guns is it's like hipster stuff in general. It used to be unique, and now everybody has a Shadow.
Yep.
And that's not saying that's bad, but there is a sense of, I don't want to say pride of ownership, where you like having, no, this is my guy. I'm the Sig 226 guy, or I'm the whatever guy. And sometimes there's some validity to that, where it's not, shooting isn't all about the gun. Sometimes it's also about hanging out with friends and having a personality that's not matching everybody. And so if you want to go with another gun, and I mean, it all depends. Are you trying to win nationals? Then yeah, you probably want to get the best gun for that division. But if you're not trying to win nationals, if you're just trying to go out and have fun and fuck around with your friends, shoot whatever gun you want.
A 226 RXP, like a Legion RXP from Sig, like that would be a decent gun for you to get into and shoot. But the price per performance out of the Shadow 2 and having all your issues kind of solved, no matter what you wanted to do for what division. Did you want to install a thicker safety with the ledge for when you shoot LO with the magwell, or whatever you wanted to do? Like the Shadow 2 provides that. But I would, if you're going to get a double single gun, I would not worry about the ability to have it cocked and locked. I would think about what is a good double single gun that has appropriate magazine extensions and optic solutions and holster solutions for you, and I would go from there. That's where I go. Like, you could run into like crazy stuff like Grand Powers. Like, Grand Power has an option of guns. There's tons
High
of
power.
Yeah. Go get a Browning high power and see what you could do with that. There's a bunch of little options that you could go to and see what you could want to shoot out of those, or just get a striker fired gun that's a little bit quirky and weird, and then go try that. I mean,
Get something fun.
Go get yourself a B&T Sphinx. Go do that.
Make USPSA fun again.
Yeah, that's what you could do. Go get a B&T CZ75 clone and put your RMS C3 or EPS on that bad boy and shoot it with its threaded barrel all day long. Go do that.
That Ground Power Excalibur is a good option, though, as you were talking.
Yeah. Like, as long as you're okay with looking for a holster and looking for magazines and base plate extensions, like, all those are good. But it's very nice to have all or most of your problems solved either out of the box or by going to one website. I know I can get myself a Glock 47, and I can get myself a Vortex Defender. I got a plate. I got a gun. I can go to T-Rex Arms. I already have 3 magazines. I can get some base plates from anywhere and a holster. Done. I'm ready to shoot. I got an accurate, reliable pistol that'll run like a top. And that's what a CZ Shadow 2 gives you, and what a 226 gives you. Just some of those are easier to source parts and holsters and everything else for you. So if you really want to get baller, AO1, go get yourself an AO1. Go do that.
You could, or you could just do what I did to my Shadow 2s, and then you have an AO1.
Or buy my Staccato HDP4.
Get an HD4 out there. Buy that gun. Start fresh. LO only.
Take that, baby.
Yeah. And probably don't go out there and buy. Go get a Springfield Echelon and a Prodigy. Those are your 2 guns you're going to spend. Well, you'll spend close to another $300 on the Prodigy to get it to run, but the Echelon seems like it runs. So you can go do that. Be unique. Shoot an Echelon.
That's it.
Right on. Well, thank you,
You
gentlemen.
can't
What?
you can't have the end of the show be unique, shoot an echelon.
Well,
Echelons suck.
be unique. Have a silver case full of glass dildos. Like do that.
Dildos.
Yeah.
Do that.
You show up to a USPSA match and you show those bad boys off, I guarantee you'll be the talk of the town.
You might even get to see what the code of conduct thing is, and see if
That's
it's
right.
freaking nonsense there all the time.
Code of contact.
Oh,
Idiots. It's just it made it that it's like you've gotten to a bad place when people at matches are then openly mocking whatever it is that USPSA wants to do. And so like every time at the
Yeah.
match yesterday, people would say offensive language or whatever and be like, "Oh, the code of conduct's coming after you." Yeah,
Oh, we
it's
can't
stupid.
swear anymore?
Yeah, fuck that.
Oops.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Womp
so,
womp.
anyways, for Robert Wire and Jared Stepp, I'm Tom Nelson, bidding you peace, love, and soul as we depart into the open waters of the sea of life on a little tugboat we like to call the PARAcast.
Good night, everybody.
Dirt dirt. Tap.